Bonnie Tyler is gone, but one song ensured that her voice would never be forgotten. In 1983, a song that was never supposed to become a worldwide phenomenon transformed her career forever. Behind it was a composer chasing a strange idea, a dark story inspired by the world of vampires, and a recording that created one of the most unforgettable moments in music history. This is the story of Total Eclipse of the Heart, the song that turned Bonnie Tyler into a legend.
Total eclipse of the heart.
To understand how one song changed Bonnie Tyler's life forever, we have to go back to the early 1980s. By then, she was already a familiar name. In 1977, It's a Heartache had become a worldwide hit, selling millions of copies and reaching the top of the charts in several countries. For a moment, it seemed Bonnie Tyler had found the formula for lasting success. But the music industry moves fast. As new artists dominated the charts, repeating that kind of success became harder with every release. Bonnie continued recording and touring, but nothing came close to matching the impact of her biggest hit. The pressure kept growing, and she knew her next breakthrough would have to be something extraordinary. What she didn't know was that someone was already writing the song that would change her life forever. The opportunity arrived because of a man who had already built a reputation for writing songs that sounded more like movies than pop records. His name was Jim Steinman. By the early 1980s, Steinman had already helped turn Meatloaf's Bad Out of Hell into one of the best-selling albums in history. His songs were dramatic, theatrical, emotional, and completely different from anything dominating the radio. He wasn't interested in writing simple love songs. He wanted every record to feel like a grand performance, filled with passion, heartbreak, and larger-than-life emotions. When he began working on a new project, he wasn't trying to create Bonnie Tyler's next hit. In fact, she wasn't even the artist he had in mind. But sometimes, the greatest songs don't find their singers. Their singers find them. Jim Steinman wasn't writing for Bonnie Tyler at all. He was working on a musical inspired by Nosferatu, the silent vampire film from 1922. One of the songs carried the working title, Vampires in Love. It was never meant to become a radio hit. Instead, it was written with a dark, gothic love story in mind, filled with obsession, heartbreak, and overwhelming emotion. That's why the lyrics sound so different from almost every love song of the 1980s. Instead of celebrating romance, they speak of loneliness, desperation, and overwhelming passion. Even the title, Total Eclipse of the Heart, reflects a love consumed by darkness rather than light.
There's nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart.
The musical never became the worldwide phenomenon Steinman had imagined. The song, however, was about to find the one voice capable of bringing every emotion he had written onto the page.
I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight.
When the song was finally ready, Jim Steinman needed a voice powerful enough to match everything he had imagined. Bonnie Tyler was unlike any other singer at the time. Years earlier, a vocal operation had permanently changed her voice, leaving it with the raw, raspy sound that would become her signature. What once seemed like a setback had turned into her greatest strength. The moment Steinman heard her sing, he knew he had found exactly what he had been looking for. Bonnie didn't just have the power to reach the notes, she had the ability to make every lyric feel believable, turning heartbreak into something listeners could almost experience for themselves. It was the missing piece Steinman had been searching for, and for the first time, he could finally hear his vision exactly as he had imagined it. At that moment, Total Eclipse of the Heart had finally found its voice. With Bonnie Tyler on board, the recording sessions began at the Power Station in New York. Jim Steinman wasn't interested in making an ordinary pop record. Every decision, from the arrangement to Bonnie's vocal performance, was carefully designed to make the song feel as dramatic and emotional as possible. Some of the industry's finest session musicians were brought together, while Steinman pushed everyone to focus on emotion before perfection. He wanted every note to tell a story and every lyric to sound completely believable. Bonnie embraced that vision, delivering the performance with a level of intensity that perfectly matched the song's theatrical style. By the time the final mix was finished, they knew they had created something unlike anything else on the radio. They just had no idea the rest of the world was about to feel the same way. When Total Eclipse of the Heart was released in September 1983, it didn't take long for the world to notice. The song quickly climbed the charts, reaching #1 in the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and several other countries. It became Bonnie Tyler's biggest hit and one of the defining songs of the decade. The success was impossible to ignore. Radio stations played it constantly. MTV gave the dramatic music video heavy rotation, and millions of listeners were captivated by a song unlike anything else on the air. Within months, it had sold millions of copies and turned Bonnie Tyler into a global superstar, introducing her powerful voice to audiences far beyond the countries where she had already found success. For Jim Steinman, it was proof that his unusual vision could conquer the mainstream. For Bonnie Tyler, it was the song that changed everything forever.
Nothing I can say, a total eclipse of the heart.
But the story of Total Eclipse of the Heart didn't end when it left the charts. Decades after its release, the song continued finding new audiences around the world. It appeared in movies, television shows, commercials, and countless performances, proving that its emotional power had survived far beyond the era that created it.
And I need you now, tonight. I fucking need you more than ever.
The song also became connected to one of the rarest moments in popular culture: during solar eclipses. A title that once seemed like a dramatic metaphor suddenly became a perfect soundtrack for a real event in the sky. Generations that were not even born when Bonnie Tyler recorded the song discovered it years later. The voice, the lyrics, and the unforgettable melody continued reaching millions of people.
And I need you more than ever. And if you only
What started as an unusual idea from Jim Steinman had become something much bigger than a hit song. It had become a piece of music history. Bonnie Tyler's journey was never defined by just one moment, but one song ensured that her voice would never be forgotten. Before Total Eclipse of the Heart, she was already a successful artist with a powerful and unforgettable voice. But that song changed the way the world saw her. It transformed her from a respected singer into an international icon, giving her a place among the most recognizable voices of her generation. More than 4 decades later, the song continues reaching new audiences, proving that some records are not just successful, they become part of people's memories. The dramatic performance, the emotional lyrics, and Bonnie's unmistakable voice created something that time could not erase. Jim Steinman wrote a song that sounded impossible. Bonnie Tyler gave it a voice that made it legendary. And Total Eclipse of the Heart made sure the world would always remember her. If you enjoyed discovering the story behind one of the most iconic songs ever recorded, subscribe and join us for more incredible stories from the world of music. There are thousands of songs with stories that changed careers, created legends, and shaped generations. So let me know in the comments, which song should we explore next? See you in the next video.